Now coming to pulmonary vascular resistance and functional resistance capacity. The pulmonary vascular resistance is lowest at the FRC, and as the FRC move towards the residual volume or towards the total lung capacity, your PVR is going to be high. The resistance to the blood flow to the lung is related to lung volume in a biphasic pattern, and it is lower when it is at FRC. The PVR is lowest at the FRC. So, the most important goal is to keep the ventilated lung as close to the normal FRC, encourages the pulmonary blood flow to the lung. Okay, you have to keep your ventilated lung as close to the FRC where your PVR is low. When the PVR is low, the blood flow can increase, and as the PVR goes towards the residual volume or towards the lung capacity, your PVR increases and your pulmonary blood flow will be reduced. Now, what are the various factors which reduces the FRC? Your surgical trauma reduces the FRC, and the one lung ventilation, the dependent part, develops collapsed alveoli, which also reduces your FRC. And third, there is going to be hypoxia and pulmonary vasoconstriction, which diverts the blood towards the dependent lung, which also reduces the FRC. And the non-dependent lung pushes the mediastinum, and there is going to be mediastinal shift which reduces the FRC. And another important thing which reduces the FRC is the suboptimal positioning. As you paralyze, the diaphragm pushes the dependent lung more than the non-dependent lung. So, this suboptimal positioning will reduce the FRC. So, there are going to be various factors which reduces the FRC. First is the surgical trauma, second is going to be your mediastinal shift, third is going to be your hypoxic pulmonary vasoconstriction, and fourth is going to be your collapsed lung, and finally the diaphragm pushing. All this factor reduces the FRC of the dependent lung. So, what is that auto-P? Measuring the functional residual capacity of one lung is complicated by the presence of end expiratory airflow, particularly in a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease patient. You exhale a large tidal volume through one lumen. See, normally you have only one lumen in a single lumen tube and you expire. But here in double lumen, there is two lumen, and you try to expire this large tidal volume to one lumen of the double lumen tube. So, what happens is, it doesn't reach the end expiratory equilibrium at FRC. So, there remains some amount of air inside the lung, which leads to dynamic hyperinflation and occult positive end expiratory pressure, which is called the auto-PEEP. All the air in the dependent lung cannot be exhaled, and there is some amount of air which is retained, which is called the auto-PEEP. And this auto-PEEP most likely to occur when there is decreased elastic recoil of lung, as happens in elderly patient or emphysema. There is no elastic recoil which pushes the air outside, and auto-PEEP develops. Here you can see the flow time room, inspiration and expiration, and it goes to the baseline. But in case of auto-PEEP, this doesn't reach the baseline. Here you have an auto-PEEP which is developing. It doesn't come to the baseline, and some amount of air is retained. And if you look at the flow volume loop, in normal inspiration and this is normal expiration, it reaches the baseline. But in auto-PEEP, when you use one lung ventilation, here the expiration, it doesn't reach the baseline. There is little bit of air trapping which leads to auto-PEEP. This you have to understand. So, your auto-PEEP increases as your inspiratory-expiratory ratio increases. Normally, the ratio is 1:2, and if the ratio increases and the time of expiration comes down, there is going to be more air which is trapped inside the lung. So, your expiration should be as long as possible. Auto-PEEP opposes the factor which diminishes the dependent lung FRC. I said various factors reduces the dependent lung FRC, but this auto-PEEP prevents that factor from happening, but it should be up to certain extent. The effect of applying external PEEP to the dependent lung to the ventilatory circuit in the presence of auto PEEP, already there is some amount of air which is trapped and you are applying external PEEP. This interaction is quite complex. Patient with low auto PEEP, as like less than 2 centimeter of water, will experience a greater increase in total PEEP from a moderate external PEEP, that is 5 centimeter. But if there is a high level of auto PEEP, that is greater than 10 centimeter, more than lot of air is being trapped, then the application of external PEEP will have deleterious effect.